So before I start this review up, I just want to give a small disclaimer, basically saying that number one, going to the theater is a risk right now, and you should not have to go. Regardless of what I say about this movie, don't take it as I need to rush out to the theater and see this because COVID is still very much present, guys. I will say this much because I know people are going to go anyway. I do think that the theaters are doing a great job right now at keeping people distanced. It was very empty. If you look on my personal Instagram, you will see a picture of how empty the IMAX was on Friday night. But this is in no way, shape, or form an encouragement to go out to the theater. Okay? My job here is to give you an opinion of a movie so that when it comes out in a form that is safe to watch, that you watch it. However, I did go to the theater, so it's going to be wrong of me to tell you not to go to the theater too. Also, I mean, I could sit here and say that it's not at your discretion, or it's at your discretion, but it's really not at your discretion anymore, so keep that in mind. We don't know if we have the COVID or not. Regardless if we're feeling symptoms, we could be carrying it, and we could give it to other people. So, if you're going to go to the theater, please, my third point here is if you're going to go, because I know people are going to go anyway, by no means is this an encouragement to go, regardless of what I say about this film. It's not an encouragement to go to the theater, but if you're going to go, please be safe, okay? Wear a mask, which I think a lot of theaters are requiring anyway. Sanitize your seats, or I brought handy wipes. I wiped down the seat. Sanitize your hands. Bring your hand sanitizer with you. I had a little pocket hand sanitizer. I had my mask on throughout the entirety of the movie. I actually did not get concessions, and I want to support my theaters. And if you're going to get concessions, just be safe, guys. Follow the line markers. I know it's all required, but just be safe. That's all I'm asking. The theaters are doing a really good job. There was hand sanitizer everywhere where I went. They had markers that kept people fairly well apart. I had an entire row in an IMAX, mind you, to myself. So anyway, just a small disclaimer. If you're going to go, be very safe and just make sure that if you're going to, get the concessions and you're going to go into a seat, you're bringing sanitizer with you. You got a handy wipe or something to keep yourself and other people safe. So just a small disclaimer before we start the review. But here we go. So New Mutants is about a girl named Danny who is stuck in an asylum, and she is stuck there with mutants. And basically, she doesn't understand why she is there, but that is kind of the mystery of the film. And also, while she's there, a lot of strange things start to happen. This is very much a horror film as much as it is a comic book film, and it is very different than a lot of other comic book films. This one was directed by Josh Boone, who directed The Fault in Our Stars, which is a film that I think is incredible. So I was very much looking forward to seeing New Mutants. Little story behind New Mutants. On top of all the shit that happened to me when I tried to go see it, this movie has been delayed like 4 different times over the course of the past 3 years. So yeah, I've been waiting to see this for a long time, and a lot of people have. I think curiosity's gotten the better of them. It's been pushed back 4 different times over the course of the past 3 years. I saw the first trailer for this film 3 years ago. And basically, this is the final X-Men movie that Fox was able to do before they were bought out by Disney, and now Disney's going to reboot the franchise. But this is the final X-Men movie that Fox was able to do. Now, nobody freak out. If you're not an X-Men fan, you do not have to have seen the other X-Men movies to enjoy this one, because it's all new characters, and you just kind of got to understand that they have mutations, just like the X-Men. Other than that, there's nothing you need to know. You can go into this pretty much completely blind, and I think enjoy it as much as I did. This is actually a really good movie, guys. I think it was great. I feel like I'm going to be in the minority on this one, but I think it was really, really good. So a lot of the things that I really liked about it was the difference between this and a lot of other superhero films. This takes a risk and wants to go into a horror direction, and it has a very horror type atmosphere. The atmosphere is very kind of creepy throughout. It has a very dark tone. I like that it was stripped down, kind of taking place in this entire asylum. There are some big budget kind of set pieces toward the end there. Really good, pretty good looking CGI, except for one scene. There's one scene where the guy's flying around. You'll see it toward the beginning. You'll know exactly what I'm talking about. It's the one part where the CGI could have been a bit better. I also think that the horror elements could have gone further in this film. That would have been something that I would have appreciated. And this film is really short. Like, I really could have used a couple extra scenes. I really like the characters, but maybe a couple extra scenes could have given them a little bit more. This is by no means an amazing comic book film, or it's far from the most amazing comic book film I've ever seen, too. But I really enjoyed New Mutants. I gotta say, I really, really enjoyed it. I don't know if I also saw it in the IMAX. I don't know if that adds anything to the experience. But yeah, I also found that this film had a surprising amount of heart to it. Like, there was a scene that like really almost made me choke up. Like, Josh Boone, if there's one thing he's really good at, he's really good at making you feel emotions, right? Like, if you saw Fault in Our Stars, like, that's something that Josh Boone just has a handle on, and New Mutants is no different. There is a scene that is just, I found it to be just beautiful, and I won't give it away at all. The cast is really excellent. I was really curious to see Charlie Heaton in this film because I hadn't seen him in anything else but Stranger Things, and I gotta be honest, as far as the cast goes in Stranger Things, he is one of my least favorites in Stranger Things. He is a much better actor in this film than he was in Stranger Things, so I really enjoyed him here. I loved Anya Taylor Joy. I think she did a really good job. She could have eased up on the accent that she was doing just a little bit because sometimes she was hard to understand, but I actually really enjoyed her performance, and I thought that she did something very different than I'd seen her do before. But the standout here is Maisie Williams as Rain. This character of Rain, aka Wolfsbane, is very, very adorable and easy to fall in love with, and she's very likable. And this is one of the this is the aspect of the movie that I really enjoyed, was the relationship between Rain and Danny. Maisie Williams gives very, very good performance. It's awesome to see her do something outside of Arya Stark from Game of Thrones, right? Because we haven't really seen her do a lot of variety yet. I mean, she's done other movies, but this is the furthest from Arya I think that she's ever played. She gets some really cool moments in the movie, some real beautiful moments, and she's the one that I found myself being attached to as well. Danny is a really good main character, but if Rain is not there to support that main character, then Danny just doesn't work. So I found myself enjoying Rain the most in the movie. I think a lot of people are probably going to agree with that, but maybe not. Anyway, so also the other thing I really liked about this, and not a lot of people are going to talk about, Mark Snow's musical score throughout the film. It's actually very, very good. I was listening to the soundtrack on my commute the other day, and it was very awesome to hear. And it's a really good play. Like, there's a couple tracks that are, but for the most part, the entire soundtrack is pretty consistently good. And yeah, I had a really good time with this film. I do recommend seeing it. Like I said, if you don't want to go to the theater, don't go to the theater. Wait, if you don't feel comfortable doing it, wait. Or if you're iffy about it, just wait. I took a risk by doing it, and I'll admit that, but I actually think that the theaters are doing a really safe job. But it's up to you if you want to go, but it's also not really at your discretion. So remember that. But New Mutants is a really good time, as far as I could tell. I mean, I really enjoyed it, and I hope everybody else does as well. I know a lot of people like to crap on these X-Men movies that have been coming out in the past few years or so, but past 3-4 years or so. But this movie's not bad, and I've actually I enjoyed X-Men Apocalypse. I liked Dark Phoenix, and New Mutants is no exception to that. I actually like this one better than I liked both of those. So, let me know what you guys think. It's a really good movie. Some of the problems with it also are that, well, I already kind of talked about the horror elements. I could have used a couple extra scenes. So very, has some problems. But other than that, I actually really like the movie. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I'd appreciate it a lot. And yeah, that's that.